Keep
There is
going.
much more to etiquette than saying thank you, excuse me, and please. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Navin Times Talk from the Heart. Our guest today is a certified grooming and etiquette trainer from the British School of Excellence. She is Manik Kaur. Hello, Manik, and welcome to our show.
Hello, Maria. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so
It's
excited for
and
our
it's a pleasure
conversation.
speaking with you, Manik. Manik, let's start from the basics. Okay, what, according to you, Manik, are the key principles of personal etiquette? Let's start with personal, and then we can go into business etiquette, because I think both of these are so important. So, getting back to my question, what are the basic principles of personal etiquette that will contribute and that will help us to lead a more mindful and kinder, life?
That's a great question, Maria. Thank you so much for this question. And I'm so glad that people like you and your newspaper and are spreading awareness, helping me as well do the same, because I think personal etiquette is so important. It just simply boils down to one single thing, just one thing. And I think it just kind of covers everything else. Everything else is a part of this bigger umbrella, which kind of covers all the other finer aspects, which is how you make people feel with your presence when you are in a situation which is it could be, like you said, it could be a business or a professional situation, or it could be a personal space. Wherever you are, how you make people feel around yourself is what is it's all about. Like you said, that it's not just please, thank you, sorry. You have to go beyond that, and it includes everything in our behavior, both verbal, non-verbal. Something like, if even if somebody is around you and is got very stern expressions or unapproachable expressions, that person's literally not saying anything from his or her mouth, but has already given a message out. So in a
True.
world where everybody is too busy or too indifferent or maybe a little more insensitive as compared to how people were, we are looking at a more mindful life when we are more considerate towards people around us, so that it's a healthier, happier, and a more positive environment. So obviously, then your life also becomes more mindful when you're mindful about these things, not just about saying, please, thank you, sorry, and just going ahead with whatever you are doing, but just taking a moment to realize how you're coming across, whether you're speaking or you're not speaking. Of course, when you're speaking, you need to be more polite in your conversation. Try to use better words which convey the same meaning, and just keeping your things, small things like your tone. So, like, even if I'm saying that, how are you, Maria, this morning? Or you just said, hi, Manik. It felt so lovely and welcoming to me. You could have just said, good morning, Manik, or hello, Manik. But there is a difference, right? So, this is exactly what we are talking about when we are talking about leading a more mindful life in terms of personal etiquette. Just be mindful about your tone, your pitch, how your expressions are, how you're making people feel, whether people are feeling happy and comfortable in your presence, or they're feeling intimidated by you, or they're feeling that, they're not comfortable. So these are the things, that I feel are very, very important. And one more thing that I really feel is very pertinent in today's day and age is giving attention to people. I think this has totally gone missing. We've become so self-centered from morning till evening, checking the boxes, the things to do list, and to-do list, and to, achieve things in life, that we just are forgetting that we need to give time to people. We need to hear people out, and forget about hearing them out. Just giving them a moment that, hey, I'm listening. Like if you have your phone in your hand while somebody's talking to you, it's highly disrespectful. I mean, it happens a lot of times with us when, people tell us, oh yeah, go on, I'm listening. And that person's scrolling at the same time, may be answering you as well alongside. but not giving your 100% attention. I think this is something which I feel is the need of the hour, where you just put your phone aside, you go to a restaurant, you see a family dining together, and they're all on their phones. And it's supposed to be a family outing. So these are the things I think which are very, very important and are pertinent, and I think are so needed in today's day and age to lead a more mindful life in terms of personal etiquette.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Manik, what you basically have said is that etiquette is like it creates a ripple effect. So, because I am being mindful, I'm being careful about other people around me, how I make them feel, they in turn make me feel good, and they take care to make me feel safe and comfortable. So basically, if we all do that, what you're saying is once we all start becoming careful and observe how we speak, our body language, how we look, it's going to, create waves of goodness for all of us. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. But having said that, I would say, Maria, it's not necessary that if you are being polite to somebody, very give you the same energy back.
Not always.
Expecting that to happen. But yes, I feel when each one of us do our bit, it will create a ripple effect. But again, like I'm saying, that if we think that, oh, I've been very polite and nice to this person, and this person ought to behave like this with me, that's not happening. At least it's not happening very soon, because I do see there is a major shift, like I just mentioned earlier. There is a shift in our mindset where we all are becoming so self-centered like that, and to some extent insensitive as well. So maybe this whole process takes time to catch on, where everybody is being mindful. But in the meanwhile, while we can't correct somebody, I can't be policing anybody for, hey, you're not following the right etiquette. Hey, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. I can't do that, but I can check myself. So when each person starts doing this
True.
themselves, of course, we'll have a more mindful society and hence a more mindful world.
Manik, with the world become a smaller place, there is also so much of diversity, especially in India itself. We have so many different states and cultures and country, but the traditional etiquette and today the evolving norms, how can we find a balance between the two? How can we even adapt to the old as well? I mean, adapt to the new while incorporating the old.
And that's a great question, Maria. A lot of people ask me this all the time, that isn't etiquette redundant? Isn't it something which is like dated, or of something of from the Victorian era and things like that? And I simply tell them one thing, that it's all about how you making people feel with your presence and nothing else. We keep evolving with time, like things that are no more applicable in today's day and age. Of course, we're not sticking to those things because we have a flexibility there. There is no rigidity like that nothing is set in stone. With times, of course, we have changed a lot of rules and etiquette that used to be there in the past, but we are taking the best from everywhere and applying it to today's times. For instance, like women were just, when etiquette and the concept of finishing school started back in the day, it was all about being a perfect homemaker. Or for a lot of women of that status, that they would want to kind of get married into rich households, or how to navigate themselves in high society, and they would learn things for that, because back in the day, that was what lifestyle was all about. Women were the primary, they were there. I mean, whether we like it or we don't, but this is what was happening, and women were supposed to go through those finishing classes and etiquette classes to fit that part. However, in today's day and age, there is nothing called gender. Men and women both need to constantly evolve themselves, be the best version of themselves, make people feel good about themselves when they are in a particular setting around them. I think that is the most important thing today. So what we have done is that we've taken those good manners and conduct from the past, a lot of things which are applicable today as well, which is being polite, which is being considerate, which is knowing what to say, when to say, how to say, and how to act as well. You know, there is a protocol for every situation in life. If and it just is not about rules or set of rules or points, 1 to 10. It's all about being courteous, being mindful, and making the best impression, not just on the outside but feeling it from the inside as well. So when you keep something like, when you have an approach like that, which is flexible, which is mindful, which is applicable in today's day and age, then there is nothing about, then I don't think the factor about being redundant or being, comes into play. It's all about making people feel good in your presence and projecting yourself confidently and correctly and mindfully in a situation. So I think that has remained constant through ages, and that is the only thing that needs to be kept in mind. Rest is can come and go, but just keep this in mind, that wherever you are, you just have to project yourself meaningfully and mindfully. I think that is something which needs to be taken care of, and hence you'll obviously strike a balance between past and present, just taking the best from the past and adapting it to today's day and age. So this is what I feel.
Right. So we are saying that consideration, kindness play a very major role in etiquette and in adapting ourselves, not just to the new, but also incorporating the old.
Yes, that's right. For instance, I would like to give an example here. There are a lot of cultures, Maria, in today's day and age, where the value system has not changed from the past. For instance, if you think of countries in the Gulf or UAE and from the Muslim world, they still give a lot of value to their heritage, to their culture, to the way they function. Like, for example, I remember a colleague, she went to Dubai for a business meeting, and apparently she felt that she had a great meeting because everything else was on point, but she did not keep the culture of that place in mind, and she did not manage to clinch that deal, simply because, and she was later on, told by somebody that you should have simply just covered your head when you were in the meeting. So it was not something which was applicable to her in terms of today's modern business world or business scenario or business meetings. Having said that, it had an impact on her meeting, simply because sometimes you have to balance it out in a way that you are modern in your approach, but you have to keep those traditional values also in mind. So if you can strike that kind of balance, you are a winner in every situation. It's as simple as that. So I would say that be flexible, but be on point and stay, or I would say stick to these basic values of being polite, considerate. See, if you're considerate, you will consider about the person's culture.
The other person as well. Yes.
Yes. So these things, stick to the core values and be flexible at the same time, and strike a balance like that, which is a perfect balance, or I would say, to get the perfect results.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you spoke about something very relevant about cultures abroad. Now, within the country, okay, we have an inkling of how to behave. An inkling. It's not completely. We are not completely into it, and we don't know it completely. But what happens, Manik, today with the world becoming smaller and literally like a village, we are all traveling, we are meeting people from different countries, from different cultures who speak different languages. So, for a person, how does one adapt to the different cultures and make sure that, they are the person, and I myself, if it's me I'm speaking about, that the other person and myself, we both feel comfortable and it's inclusive?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. But it has a very simple answer, Maria. Everybody doesn't need to have a personal etiquette coach. We do, nobody can
Right.
do that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's true.
I mean, if you're fortunate enough to kind of get that knowledge through a course or I would say a workshop, and you have an access to that, well and good. But even if you don't, you're just sitting at home and you want to travel for work or for I would just say as a normal tourist for leisure. All you need to do is just go through, I would say just Google it and just get some information or read a book about that place, or and know just a little bit about how, about the culture of the place. For instance, again, I'm talking about these Gulf countries and a lot of places where, during the months of Ramzan, people don't want you to eat on the streets because the rest of the world, the rest of the place, the rest of the city is fasting. It's just rude. It's just so insensitive, I think, as a person, that everybody else is on a fast and you are maybe enjoying a pizza on the road or something. So these are the things that are just common sense, but you can always look them up before traveling or before a business meeting so that you do not end up making a mistake. Or if you are entering a religious place, a lot of people I see, they're queuing up and then they suddenly realize they're wearing too short clothes, or they're wearing very short dresses, or they're not covering their heads, and they suddenly realize, oh, they're in their shorts or they're in their skimpy clothes, and now what to do? Now they have been asked not to visit that place. So it's always better to look up, be prepared for it, and it's not difficult at all. Just be respectful, because that's what you would also expect people to do when they are in your vicinity. It's just mutual, I think, and it just makes you more comfortable as well. And when you're mentally relaxed and you have read up and you know a little bit here and there, it just gives you also an edge, and you enjoy the whole process more. I mean, I would say enjoy your holiday also more. You enjoy your business meeting also more. Simply by, if you know how to shake hands properly, as simple as that. Like, a lot of people have this habit of putting their hand on top when they're shaking the hand, which a lot of people don't know. Even I would say, our Prime Minister, I mean, he really does that to show support and love from his end, because that's what maybe his culture stands for. But he doesn't know that internationally this is regarded as disrespect, because this is like this is
Dominance.
like putting, yes, this reflects dominance. See, you know that, right? But nobody has checked him or nobody has told him. But you know it, I know it, maybe the whole world knows it, he's ignorant about it. So when you don't do that, when you do that, I mean, it creates a little bit of disturbance in the other person's mind as well, and it keeps the other person thinking about it. And on the other hand, if you do something as small as, like I say, that if you know American style of dining or continental style of dining, something as simple as that. If I'm dining with an American client and I'm dining with the American style of dining, that person will take a notice and will give you the brownie point. Isn't that exciting? Like, I tell these small things. Like, if I go to South India and I say, okay, let me just have the meal the way you guys have it. I don't want to sit on the table. I want to sit there on the floor. I want to have my meal in the banana leaf, on the banana leaf, and I'm going to use my hands and my fingers. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that more heartwarming for my host and for me to kind of strike a beautiful relationship there? And of course, everything else follows for the better. So these are the small things, that can make all the difference, give you an edge, and it's a win-win situation for everybody, I think. So you can
Right.
always look up. There's a whole lot of information everywhere. Nobody needs a personal coach, but it's available now, thankfully, everywhere.
It is, it is. And you know the example that you gave about how we need to be careful and mindful about places that we are visiting. With Goa being a tourist spot, we have the influx of, you know, local tourists is great. It's growing every year, and I think people need to be more careful when they come to Goa to follow, you know, some of the things that we follow, because our culture is different. But and then they don't realize it, and it causes a lot of friction. It does cause a lot of friction. People are very careless about other people's feelings. It's about me, it's about my holiday, and I would like to take pictures, and just because I want to take pictures that look very good on all social media handles, they cross that boundary, and they
Yes.
go all out, and they do not respect the residents, you know, and it creates a lot of friction, a lot of sadness, disappointment. And sometimes people like the Goans, there are many who I know who do get upset and angry. So
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally feel for you, because it's like invading somebody's privacy,
it
or
is.
you, I would say, stepping on somebody's, boundaries. You are not being mindful. And if someone else does the same with you, you only need to think that if somebody invades my privacy like that, or oversteps the boundaries all the time, or is littering the place, they will come, make merry and go, and leave the place dirty, or they
Absolutely.
would not even take permission whether it's can I have a picture with you, can I have a picture in front of your house. It's somebody's private property, it's not a public property, and not all public properties are also up for photography. They're not open for photography. So many things, but people just take the liberty of using whatever comes their way. And I would say a lot of times we see this in India, because unfortunately these things are not taught at school or university level, which is, I think, a very unfortunate part, because this is what is a part of life skills, something that we ought to know, and something that is so very important, and of course can really save a lot of people from hurt that it's causing people. And I would say, Maria, a lot of people are not even aware of the fact that they are causing hurt to others, or
That's
they are
right.
doing it ignorantly, because they do not want to do that, but they're not aware. And they come across as insensitive, like you said, they're being insensitive. But I wish somebody told them that before, and maybe they would not do the same in that case. So
I
yeah, it's a
hope so, Manik. I do hope so that, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed that after watching this program and, you know, some of the tourists, because we in Goa, we face problems because of this. And, b- and now with social media, and everyone is on social media, right? You are, I mean, you have a massive following. Before we continue, can you tell us a little bit of, you started 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, that's right. It's just been 2 years on social media, so so to speak. But I started my journey in 2018. Before I get on for my explaining about my journey, I would just say that I would love to make content on what you just discussed. I think it's so important for me to come up with something called tourist etiquette, which is much needed. And thank you for giving me that. I would say idea. I did think about it some time ago, and I had completely forgotten about it. But now I think I'll do it, and
So,
hopefully, if I come in Goa,
Manik, please go ahead, do it, but please make sure the focus is Goa, and please make, you know, I do mention Navin Times giving you this idea, because truly,
yeah,
very truly, and you know, from the heart, we want tourists to come to Goa. We do. But I just think they
yeah.
need to be more careful. So you were telling us about, you know, you have in 2 years your following is huge, but and that also says a lot about how people are becoming more aware, Manik, if I'm not
That's
mistaken, right?
that's so true, Maria. I never thought even one person would follow me when I started my journey, because it was like a labor of love for me. It was like something. It was my passion. It was my purpose in life, I would say,
Right.
more than anything else, just to spread awareness. Because, like we just discussed many times, it's not about purposely people doing this purposely. Many times it's basically by or deliberately breaking rules, or being insensitive, or not being mindful about certain things. It's mainly lack of knowledge. So I just thought that let me just create awareness about what is etiquette, in terms of, in fact, when I started, I was the first etiquette coach in India who was just doing etiquette as an etiquette. Because that point in time, like even in 2021, when I started on Instagram, people felt that etiquette was a taboo word. And somebody teaching us etiquette is so embarrassing, that we are taking etiquette classes and we have not been maybe brought up well, or, it puts a question mark on our behavior and our identity as humans, or, as not so cultured people. But it's actually the other way around. It's actually a very different connotation. And this is what I wanted to create awareness about. So that's when I started. When COVID happened, I think it was a blessing in disguise for me that I put myself out there on Instagram. I did not even know I of Instagram. I just asked my kids, "Hey, how does this thing work? And can you just tell me?" Because now that before that, I took a couple of digital marketing courses because I am very tech challenged. I'm a 90s kid. So I did not know how to even use a laptop properly back in the day. I was till from 2018 to 20, I was only doing offline sessions. And that also, Maria, is a very interesting thing, because it is an interesting, I would say, case study in terms of the fact that I wasn't getting work even after learning so much from abroad and all of that. I just realized that people in India were not ready for something like this, because, like I said, people felt that, oh, etiquette, we can't be signing up for something like this, especially women. And abroad, it's like for the creme de la creme. And if you are very fortunate if you can go to such classes and navigate yourself, how to help your it would help you navigate yourself in high society and things like that. And here, nobody wanted to sign up.
But
So I
Manik,
have noticed.
now, I beg your pardon, but right now, I think that is changing. People are becoming more aware. It is gradual, no doubt
Yeah,
about it. But it's
that.
heartening to know that there is a change.
Yes, exactly. So I'll tell you what exactly happened. Initially, like in 2018 and 2020, I was struggling with this issue, and I said, all right, no worries. Let me start with children, because nobody wants to, and adults didn't, we were not open to this idea. So I had no work, and I said, all right, I'll go to schools and universities, and maybe then it will work, because I will work from the grassroots level, shaping up the kids like that. And two, at least everybody wants their kids to learn everything. They say, okay, we know everything. Teach our children now. Our children need to know this. So that's how it began. But when I started on Instagram, people realized, and I started putting out those short form content. And that's when people realized, hey, it's fun. It's not bad, and there is a difference. Because I would do the before and after kind of a thing, that if you can just plonk yourself in a chair and you can come and sit gracefully in a chair, something like that. When you see a before and after thing, or when you see something done right and something just done mindlessly, the effect is in front of your eyes, which you can't deny. And people started realizing that, hey, etiquette is not bad at all. It's something cool. And that's when, Maria, like you said, people took to it. My content went viral, which I never expected. People were on their phones. I guess I got lucky as well. And I also feel something which you do with a good intention, that resonates, because there are tons, and there is a human, I would say, um, warmth in everybody's heart. All of us have that something good inside, each one of us. When you see something good, when you do something good, people feel happy from within. So I think that just created a ripple effect, and a lot of people felt that, yeah, it is basically all about being kind. It's about being mindful, and it's nice. It's a nice thing. And that's when I also felt a lot of people who were calling themselves image consultants, or personality development coaches or life coaches and all started using the term etiquette. We do etiquette also. A lot of randomly people also started doing etiquette. With a lot of women sitting at home, they started making similar videos, and I felt very happy that at least the whole idea is getting across like that. It's just spreading like wildfire, and now everybody is like, there are so many of them, of us, I would say. And that's a great feeling. At the end of the day, it's about a good thing getting, I would say, accepted in a good way. So yeah, that's what happened. And I think all of us want to be nice at the end of the day, no
Of
matter
course, we
how we
do.
are.
We do. And if you realize, you also mentioned the ripple effect. And etiquette is so much about the ripple effect and how it affects not just you, but also other people around you. And that carries on for a long time. Manik, it has been really lovely speaking with you. Let's take a short break. All right. To our audience, please don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Manika has much more to speak about, and I have a lot of questions for Manik. So we'll see you soon. Welcome back to the Navin Times Talk from the Heart. We are in conversation with Manik Kaur, a grooming and etiquette trainer. Manik, we were speaking about personal etiquette. Now let's, come to business etiquette, because there'll be other people who will say, my audience will say, we spoke all about personal etiquette. What about business? So the first question that I would like to ask you is, can you give us 2 or 3? I think 3 is a good number. Could you give us 3 aspects of business etiquette that you think are very crucial to portray, to create that professional image?
Right. Great question. And I'll keep it very precise for you. First thing I think is having professional body language and conduct. That's very, very important. You should know you're in a professional setting. It is not to be taken carelessly or mindlessly. You have to speak the part, or you have to fit the part by dressing right. I see a lot of professionals who, after a year of service or whatever, they just get too casual about what they're wearing. It's not a wedding. It's not your drawing room, or it's your.
So they would get a bit too comfortable, is what you're saying.
Too comfortable, right? They get too comfortable. I've seen women who are receptionists, or at a school, and they're wearing danglers, or they're wearing something which they would be just wearing at home. They just need to have 1 or 2 things, not very expensive things, I would say, attire, but they should stick to professional attire, which may not be very fancy or expensive. It just needs to be clean, properly ironed, presentable. That's just about it. You should look the part. Then you should behave the way you are supposed to behave in a professional setting. Think before you speak. Conduct yourself in a professional manner, where you are making effective communication in terms of getting the message across and receiving the message. You need to actively, a lot of people tell me that when they go to some office, they don't feel heard because people are not giving them attention. So I think something as basic as this is, I will talk about things which are not so obvious. This is one thing. Not using your phone during that time. That's very, very important. A lot of people, you go, they're still scrolling on their phone, or they'll tell you to wait, or things like that. I think that's very important. Then 2 very, very, very important things besides this first point, like looking on point and behaving on point. Then another thing I want to say is that you should know conversations you are making in your workplace. They should not be gossip. They should not be about your purchases. They should not be about your love life or personal life, because these things are going to create problems later on in your life, and it's going to affect your physical and mental health sooner or later. So stick to professional conversations in a professional setting. Very, very important. And last thing that I want to tell, again, which is not so obvious, is that very few people pay attention to the fact that they need to have a teamwork spirit, or a team spirit, so to speak, not just about promoting themselves in the office culture. Because the most important, or I would say um, the biggest pain point working in a corporate or in a workplace, in a professional setting, has become the fact that people are too competitive, and they're going all out because of that competitive feeling inside them, which is making them jealous, which is making them gossipy, which is creating something that we all know we all know as office politics. I think that is something which I feel needs to go. And do not indulge in that. Please do not indulge in that, because today you're doing this for others, and tomorrow when others do this for you, it's just going to be a very sad place to be in. I mean, a very sad situation. So do not create that situation in the first place. Be a positive person, be a happy person, and see how things work out beautifully. Everything else will also fall into place. And of course, it's like we already discussed, that it's going to create a ripple effect, and your workplace won't be a place which drains you. It will be a place which makes you feel like going back to it.
Energized, positive.
Energized. Absolutely, and energized, and you would want to go back to work and not dread it like Sunday evening, that, oh, tomorrow's Monday.
I know.
Back
to the grind.
Yeah, back to the grind, back to the salt mines, and all of that. So I
Right.
think these three, if you keep in mind, it's not just about etiquette, it's also about being human. So I think, again, I feel etiquette just is basically just forms a base, or it stems from the fact that you should be a good human being
Now,
and come across as a person. Yeah.
yeah. Now, you know, the pandemic taught us many, many lessons. And one of the major lessons that we have learned is that you do not have to be in office to get work done. You can do it remotely. The digital platform today is being used everywhere, everywhere. And there are companies, corporates who are still continuing with this culture of few days part-time in the office, part-time at home, and working remotely. However, digital etiquette is not known to everyone. And even some, if they know it, they don't follow it. What are some points you can give us in this area? Some tips that will benefit all of us.
See, I think as far as online meetings is concerned, that's when you kind of come in touch, or I would say everybody just comes together. Whether you're working remotely or you're sitting in the office, everyone comes together for a meeting. Just make sure that you are actively engaged. And first of all, you are dressed decently. You don't have to be dressed fancy. Again, you just have to be decently dressed. You can't be sitting in your night suit, or you can't be having a headband on your head, or very casually dressed, as if, who cares now, it's okay. Like we just talked about it. You become too laid back about it. No, because this is a professional meeting, and there could be people from outside, and whether we like it or we don't, Maria, it's a fact that what we see visually on our screen, or just as our eyes meet each other's eyes, within those 7 seconds, we form an image of a person and we put them in a box. And the game is over. If you don't, that round one is over for you. And if you don't make it in the round one, you are not going to round two. So a lot of times, if you see an employee or a person in the organization who's not dressed well, and I am heading maybe the HR department, or even if I'm at a prominent position or a designation in a company, and I see somebody like that on my grid, I will not appreciate that. The chances of that person going higher are reduced, because I have already formed an opinion that this person does not respect the fact that this person is in a professional setting, whether he or she is sitting at home or he or she is sitting in the office. He does not or she does not respect the presence of everybody else in this meeting. This person is going, I mean, I have already made an opinion about that person, and that person may or may not be that, but it reflects very poorly on that person. So you need to be dressed on point. A. B, you have to give your attention. You cannot be scrolling on your phone while others are talking. Be actively engaged. I see that all the time. Your background should be clean and clutter free. A lot of times I see that people sit just about anywhere. Your lighting has to be
True.
proper. Your face
So
has
true.
to be visible. You can't switch off your camera and just be in your la la land. You can't do that. Then you can't let your kids go here and there and screaming while you have to find a spot where you can respectfully attend a meeting. So these kind of things. And very importantly, again, do not interrupt when somebody is talking. I see that all the time. Somebody hasn't even finished and there are 10 people who are interjecting or, trying to make a point that time. Wait for your turn to come and be polite, be mindful, be gracious. And it doesn't cost anything, but gives you an edge. Just when you log in, you should not, okay, one more tip, a pro tip is that you should not look flustered when you join. A lot of people I know, we are shuttling from one assignment or one work to the other, and then suddenly come up and like, oh God, I'm already 10 minutes late. Let me just, get onto the meeting and log in and things like that. And you look visibly flustered. That is when, you don't need to. It's just about, okay, you are late, or whatever's happened has happened, but you can still be calm and just smile, but you'll make an impact. And if you're flustered, you will make an impact which is not so positive again. And you can't really do anything about the situation, because whenever you've joined. So I think the way you interact comes later, but how you present yourself on the screen the first time you log in, one second, is very important. Is like, that's how people gauge you, or they make an opinion about you right there in that moment when you join and your face is visible to people. So just look calm, relaxed, in control, even if you're not.
All right.
So I think
that's a good tip. And now we come to our last question, but I think this is a very the question that I'm sure many of our many members in the audience are going to be saying, oh my God, yes, this is so important. With dining out becoming the norm for business meetings, I mean, people now today are meeting for breakfast meetings and lunch meetings and dinner meetings as well. It is very tricky navigating cutlery, crockery, glassware. Like, I do remember this one scene where I was sitting at a table and I've had my glass of water, and somebody who was sitting next to me, he didn't realize it, of course, and I had to just keep quiet because I didn't want to embarrass him. And he took my glass of water when I was drinking, and I'm thinking to myself, listen, hello, the water, there's only half glass of water. Like, didn't you realize that? But yes, it is tricky. It is tricky. Once you get the hang of it, of course, then it becomes easy. But what can you give us some tips to save face for some people and to navigate this area?
I'm so thankful to you for asking me this question, Maria. It's such a beautiful, good question, such a relevant question.
Relevant. I think the word is relevant. The relevant question. That's important.
Yes, and especially what's happened with you, like, before you could finish, I imagined it in my mind, because this has happened with me as well. Somebody took my bread, like, it's like there are two things on your right and your left. one is your drinks, and the second is your bread plate, and which has your bread on it. And somebody had my bread, so I could actually understand. I mean, I could actually relate with you there, and
Yeah.
there is no rocket science to it. Just a little thing that I'm going to give you right now. So simple. Just do this and this. All you need to do and remember is this. Now, if you look at your right hand, this looks like a small D,
D.
right? And this looks like a small B of English. So when you do this and set your table, or if the table is already set, all you need to know is your drinks is always on your right, no matter, I mean, as many drinks. It could be water, wine, red wine, white wine, cognac, you name it and everything. All your drinks, regardless of the number of drinks, are going to be on your right. And B is your bread plate. So on the left is your bread, and on the right is your glass, for sure. So for that person as well, on his right was his glass, but he picked up your glass because that was on his left, but he picked up your glass. So it's as simple as that. Just remember B and D. B and D. D, B. Drinks on your right. So the right side of your, on your right, you'll always
Of your
have
cover.
drinks that are for you, and the bread is always going to be on your left, which is basically meant for you and not your partner or not your neighbor. So this is how it works. And you're right, in a professional setting, it becomes even more important, because at home you can goof up, in a restaurant you can goof up, you can afford to do that. But imagine suppose you were supposed to hire that person's definitely not getting hired.
Yeah. For sure. Yes.
So this is what we do. This is where we kind of come into the picture and help people, because nowadays everybody is basically become like clones when it comes to the interview skills. Everybody comes prepared with the same questions, with the same answers, and they have it all ready. So how do people who are hiring make out whether, or decide whether they should take candidate A or candidate B or C or D or blah blah? So there are 2-3 things here. In professional settings, it becomes even more important, because you have an access to all multinational companies, and multinational companies are here to hire you, pick you, and they want you to dine with their clients as well, who belong to different nationalities and cultures. So they want you to be groomed like that you don't end up representing themselves or the company in a bad light. So that's why it becomes even more important in a professional setting. When you are supposed to get hired, you want to be picked up by the company, and B, you also have the responsibility of the company's image, and how you kind of conduct yourself in a setting where you're meeting up with a client. So what is important, again, like few things apart from this B and D, is how you serve yourself. In fact, a lot of companies now, when they are hiring or picking up or selecting in the final selection process, they invite you for a business lunch, because that's where they want to see the finer aspects of a person. How you serve yourself speaks a lot about you as a person. I always give this example, Maria, of that movie 3 Idiots, where these 3 guys gate crashed the wedding. Remember?
The wedding.
They dressed the part. They wore the turban,
Yeah.
and everything, as if they were Baratis and everything, and they gate crashed the wedding, but they got found out just because of the way they had served themselves. Their plates were heaped right. If they had gone in for seconds or thirds, or the subsequent helpings, they would have easily gotten away with it. But in one helping only, like one first time only, they served themselves so much that they got found out. So these things reflect a lot about you. And that's what people notice about you in a business lunch or in a professional setting. See how you have served yourself. A, whether you're taking messy things. If you have suppose served yourself spaghetti, it's not something you should be serving yourself for a business lunch or ordering for a business lunch, because you might just drop something on yourself, and stained clothes with a client and is not going to reflect well on you. or the company, right? And then going beyond that, again, quoting another example, like if it's a 7 course meal or a 9 course meal and it's a formal meal and you don't know how to navigate yourself, outline, you should remember that you always go from outside towards inside when it comes to using the utensils, right? But a lot of people do not know that and they get very jittery looking at that spread. So those things, if you know, if you can, like, remember that scene from Pretty Woman, how Julia Roberts gets into, that awkward situation and the whole, restaurant is just a mess, is a disaster because of whatever happened. So
I think something flew out of her plate, right? If I'm not mistaken. I'm not very sure.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, she did not know how to,
use something.
Those snails.
Yes.
They were supposed to have snails and you have tongs for that.
Yes.
You need to open the snail and use your fork and fish out that snail or the slug bit and eat that. But she did not know how to hold it and it just popped out and went across. So things like that, small things, but they tell a lot about your background. They tell a lot about how groomed you are, how informed you are. And if you have I'm not saying somebody who doesn't know it does not have any qualities, but if you know all these things, it adds to your persona, it adds to your personality, it adds to you, it gives you an edge over others, and you will be the one selected from the shortlisted people because you have those skills. It's as simple as having skills. Like I said earlier, these are life skills. Dining etiquette is a life skill. And a lot of people, Maria, trust me, ask me that why should we bother? Especially here in India, why should we bother? We're not Britishers, we're not so and so. I say that, look, we still learn foreign languages, don't we?
True.
It's always a feather in your cap. It's always an added bonus. You never know when you need it.
Yes.
And sometimes, like swimming or driving, if you know it for all times to come, forever. Like I told you about DNB, now you will never forget it.
Yes.
So the person who was sitting next to you, if that person knows now DNB, he will never pick up your glass.
or the next time someone does something like that, I'm going to put my fingers like this, and hopefully he or she should not think I'm meditating, but basically I'm going to give you a little tip saying
this is actually mine, but it's just that it's an added bonus.
It is.
And it is something that gives you an edge, and in a professional setting it becomes very, very relevant. It can give you that I would say an extra edge over others, and your possibility of getting hired is going to go very, very high. And on top of it, I think you feel good about yourself. You feel confident, Maria. If I was invited to a business lunch and if I knew how to navigate myself, I would go with a very positive attitude. I would conduct myself positively. I look different. When you're confident, you look different. And when you are not confident, no matter what you're wearing, no matter how highly qualified you are, you don't look good. You don't look confident. You don't make an impact.
True.
So I think it's something. It's a knowledge. It's just like any other knowledge, and it will always, always help you, be it professional setting, or in personal setting, and it's always going to give you that edge. You will get noticed, and it will just add to your happiness and confidence.
And Manik, before we say bye to you, I read recently somewhere, and it really, it resonated with me. It made an impact. It said, "Wear confidence. It is the new in." And I think that has been the new. It is not the new in. It has always been in. So when you are confident, you exude confidence, you exude positivity, and I think that ripple effect starts. Manik, it has been such a pleasure speaking with you. We've learned so much, and I'm sure we are going to incorporate a lot of the tips you've given us into our personal as well as business lives. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Maria. It was a beautiful conversation. I enjoyed myself thoroughly, And thank you to you and your viewers, everybody.
Thanks so much.
I really time.
And as I've just said, viewers, I'm sure that some of the tips that Manik has given, or all of the tips that Manik has given, will help you. It will maybe, there will be small baby steps, but everything starts with baby steps. Thank you so much for your time, for your attention, and for your patience. Until next time, take care. Bye from all of us.